Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beyond the Pill podcast. My name is Avery. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in about 10, 11 days now. I was gone for Thanksgiving for about a week and a half, seeing family, catching up with everybody. Hadn't seen my family in quite a while, actually. So it was great to catch up with everybody. I hope that you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Just want to dive right on into this here, and I want to talk about something that I thought I was going to be making a few more episodes of the podcast first before I talked about this, but no, we're going to talk about it now. Plus, it's already up on my channel when I did what we in the news world call a package, aka a story. But it's my diagnosis of VHL, otherwise known as von Hippel-Lindau disease. It is a very rare type of cancer, as the title implies, and it causes tumors and cysts to form all over your body. I could write a book, although I actually have. It's called My Very Happy Life, but if you look at it vertically, it's VHL, and so it's where it's essentially a biography of my life where I talk about my diagnosis, how I was diagnosed, the trials and tribulations that I faced. And I could be here for 5 hours on this podcast talking about all that. But specifically, I wanted to talk about some of the things that I've been through and what VHL is and raise some awareness to it. And if you haven't seen my story about that on the channel, I definitely recommend you go check it out. It's actually one of the better performing videos on this channel for when I was still working in news. And I interviewed this guy from, I believe it was Australia. I could be absolutely wrong about that. It's almost midnight, so do bear with me. I'm sorry. But really, really amazing guy. And he was put on the same drug that I'm now on called Welireg that I talk about in the story as well. And that drug really saved my life. I was getting very close to needing surgery because I have like 4 brain tumors, a cyst on my spine. My doctors thought I had renal cell carcinoma, otherwise known as RCC, but they didn't want to take a sample of my kidney because in case I needed to go under the knife for a lot more surgeries, they didn't want to put me through an extra one if they didn't need to. I did end up having an endoscopy procedure, and then come to find out during a regular eye checkup, it turned out that I had eye tumors, most likely caused by the VHL. So I had 2 rounds of laser surgery or laser therapy, whatever it is you want to call it. And other than that, I've luckily had a very... I don't know if I'd say an easy life, but it's definitely been a much better life compared to other people within the von Hippel-Lindau, for lack of a better term, community, even though I really don't want to use that term. It's definitely not a badge of honor because there are some people who've had to go through chemo, multiple surgeries, been through a lot of pain, and luckily I've been one of the lucky ones where my diagnosis was caught early. I'm 28 now, and I was diagnosed at 22 because my great uncle had an aneurysm burst behind his eye. And so once that happened, we knew that other members of the family need to get checked for aneurysms, because if one family member has it, then somewhere along that family tree, other people may have it. So since it was on my dad's side of the family, we both got checked. My dad came back clear, and I came back with what they called quote-unquote something in my brain. And so from there, we found out that I had VHL. We did the blood test, and the rest goes off from there. But having this diagnosis has been such a blessing and also such a curse, because believe it or not, it has actually caused me to not get jobs. Well, you might be wondering, Avery, how do you know that? Well, the reason why I know that is because in the news world, you are pretty much an open book, especially when you are focusing on health, whether it's mental health, physical health, what have you. And I have to use something for reels, right? And so anytime that I'm applying for a job in news, really applying for a job anywhere, because I have my reels on my resume and my cover letter and all that. So even if I were to apply to, say, Walmart, then the manager of that Walmart could pull up my reels on YouTube and see, oh, hey, this guy has a cancer diagnosis. Having cancer, at least in America, I've never lived or been anywhere outside of America. So if you're watching this outside of America, you may have different laws. Things may be different there. But in America, when you have a pre-existing medical condition, it is like pulling teeth to get insurance. And even then, it's practically impossible to get insurance. And a lot of companies don't want to hire someone who has some sort of pre-existing medical condition because there is a magical thing called premiums. And those premiums can go up if someone is constantly going to the doctor in your company. Typically, the way that insurance plans work here in the United States is that whenever you go into a full-time job, you are placed essentially into a group, and that group, all of you, let's say it's 5 people, all of you have the same insurance plan. And if one of you out of the 5, let's say it's me for example, is constantly going to the doctor, constantly getting MRIs done, which if I didn't have insurance, just having one 45-minute MRI is $16,000. Yes, you heard that right. And so if one person in this little 5-man group, say me for an example, is constantly going to the doctor, those insurance premiums are going to raise for the other 4 people in this little pod that we have as an example. And that can lead to higher costs for companies overall, especially when you times that by, say, 1,000 employees. You've got 10 people constantly going to the doctor, or they have a pre-existing medical condition. Well, now your other 990 employees are all going to have their rates possibly increased. And so then at that point, it makes you really want to get rid of those 10 people constantly going to the doctor. Obviously, not every company is like this. Not every manager in a job is trying to do this to people. In fact, most managers in most companies want to hire someone, even if it's just, some guy on the street corner. They want to hire because the more people that a manager can hire, the better they look. If Johnny No Thumbs is working at Walmart and he's a store manager, and every year he's hiring 1,000 new people and they're all working out well, he's going to look like a fantastic store manager because he's hiring a lot of people, which is bringing in more business for the company, which is also getting more workers. Overall, it's just a good thing for said company, right? And so with this VHL, it has really been an issue for me trying to find work in my career field, especially when it comes to things like television and radio, which is my passion. That's my dream job. It's my dream to be an anchor. It's a dream to be a storyteller. Sitting here, especially on a podcast, I really enjoy it because it's doing something that I really enjoy doing. I just couldn't figure out till now how I wanted to do it. And it's very tough because I go to a local hospital here in Florida called Moffitt Cancer Center. And because of the fact that I go there, I'm basically now at once a year, but I was at every 3 months when I first started going there. It makes it very hard to find work in the television and radio radio industry as a whole, because typically in this field, you start off in a very small market. If you look at the Nielsen ratings and you look at, say, like the top 50 markets, let's say you want to go work at market number 1, which is always between California and New York. If you don't have any experience, you're not going to get a job there. To have a job in the number 1 market, you got to have like 10 plus years of experience. And even then you may not get in. And so someone like me growing up in Florida, I would have to go to, say, like Alabama, market number 200, just throwing a number out there, to get my feet wet in the business. However, again, the problem is that if I have to go, for a week, 2 weeks to Moffitt Cancer Center for MRI scans, doctor appointments, surgeries, whatever the case may be, endoscopies, whatever kind of procedure, right? Then that's 2 weeks I have to be gone. That's possible PTO that I have to hopefully have enough hours for. And on top of that, if I'm doing it every few months, the company's probably not going to want to keep me around because I'm not in work all that much. So it makes my search boil down to I need to find something local or it's just not going to work out. And that has really been the toughest part of this VHL journey, is just finding work, finding that full-time insurance to get my stuff covered. Luckily, my prices for my own private insurance hasn't been too expensive, but it's still something that kind of gnaws at the back of my mind that I need to find something full-time so that I can, not only be in my dream field, but also have full-time insurance. Like the joke I make with most people is I just want to find a honey with TRICARE and just be able to not have to work the rest of my life, which as a pharmacy tech, I know how good TRICARE insurance is, which is military insurance. So the joke is that I just need to get a military ID and go hang out at one of the local, Florida military bases and like go talk to women all day. Like that's just the joke a running joke I have with my friends. But that's some days I feel like that's my only option. And it's sort of a blessing and a curse that the biggest issue I have with my VHL diagnosis is not even the diagnosis itself, but it's the baggage that comes with telling someone, I have cancer, will you still hire me? Because again, I can't hide it. I have a story on YouTube on this channel that tells my story, that I interviewed someone about this drug, and that even though VHL is very niche, not a lot of people know it even exists. It's estimated that maybe 1 in 10,000 people are documented with it in the United States, but it's usually found because they're looking for something else. And so it's great that I'm building a platform that I can use to inspire people and educate people and make it, more well known to the general public. But also when it comes to trying to find work, no matter what company, whether it's being a barista at Starbucks, whether it's being a reporter for a television station, it's really hard, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It's been a point in my life that it feels like it's not something I'm ever able to shake, like it's always there. At the same time, though, I'm also thankful that, I'm happy and healthy and alive and well, and that I get to live my best life every day in spite of it. So also makes dating a bit hard too, which I've noticed through like dating apps and stuff. It, for one reason or another, it comes up in conversation that I have women tell me I'm not dating a guy with cancer. That's been adorable. So thank you all for tuning into the podcast. Again, I'm hoping it's not going to be another 10 days out, but let me know what you think about this story down in the comments below. Let me know if you like the commentary style with the Call of Duty stuff in the background. I can always show my ugly mug on camera if y'all prefer, but if y'all prefer the commentary style, I'm more than happy to do that. Everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.